And then she clearly thought we bonded really well over this conversation, because then, about 3 hours later, she had the confidence to come over once again and just ask me, "Oh, Chris Sensei, what do you think about Osama bin Laden's girlfriend?" And I was like, "What? What are you talking about?" And I was still jet lagged. How do you respond to that? Osama bin Laden's girlfriend, she said, "Oh, he did very well."
I didn't even know he had a girlfriend.
In the sex life of Osama bin Laden, who was dead at the time as well. Add that into the list of strange experiences. First day conversations.
Last week I took part in a live video chat answering questions from viewers about life in Japan alongside my good friend Regan, who also lives in Japan as well. And we covered a variety of topics from learning Japanese and travelling around Japan, as well as personal experiences and stories of things we've seen and done along the way. And as many of the questions and answers are relevant to a lot of people, the original video has been edited and cut down from 90 minutes into this video now. I guess there are two ways to watch this video. You can watch it the whole way through or listen to it while you're jogging through a forest, tidying a house or painting your horses, or you can go to the description box below the video and look for the specific topic or question that you're after and find which point it is in the video. Either way, I hope this video is useful to you. It was really fun to do, and there'll be a live video chat hosted on this channel, On Abroad in Japan, in February. Have a great day. Enjoy. Product placement. For a product that I'm not even selling. The unit cost, it was just too high. Such a shame.
Yeah, now we're on.
Yeah, I just went to McDonald's, and before any major event in my life, I go to McDonald's and I buy a mega muffin and coffee, iced coffee.
Can't wait for the questions to roll in on how your weight loss is going then.
The first question I saw was from Dale Clayton,
Mm-hmm.
and he said, "Are there any gay foreign teachers in Japan? What are your thoughts on that?" And I know quite a few up in the area where I am. There's loads of great people who are gay and teachers, so it is possible, and they're really awesome. Like, there's nothing wrong with that, and they're not. It's not like it's not a bad thing in Japan, so it's not.
Okay.
It's like not viewed badly. So
Did they mention it to their employers?
I don't know.
Not sure.
I have no idea.
Yeah, I wouldn't think.
But it's not a problem.
Yeah.
Not a problem.
Okay.
So yeah, if you're gay, Dale, don't let that hold you back. Just go to Japan.
Come to Japan.
Everyone's favourite question: what's the strangest thing you've seen in Japan, and the strangest thing you've experienced? For me, it's not really a thing, like an actual event that I saw. It's more of an all-around experience, and that is Japanese work parties. I don't know if you've ever experienced how many you've experienced, Regan, but it's quite a schizophrenic experience, because the teachers at school where I work are very reserved, quiet, quite serious, and then at the work parties it's just the opposite of that. And I remember, like, I often saw a teacher in the corridor the first few weeks that I started, and he would like avoid me because he was scared of like having to use English or worried. And then at the work party, I was sitting down eating, and I just felt this hand like come down on my shoulder, and it's like, "Oh, Japanese people are very shy, aren't they?" And I was like, "Yeah." And they started plying me with alcohol, and just was really drunk. And like everyone, even if they weren't drunk, everyone just changed miraculously. It was such a bizarre thing. They were suddenly really confident, really loud, a bit wacky, all fluent at English. Magically, they could just speak English like that, and that really surprised me. And then the really serious teachers were the ones who were the most craziest. Like some of the most stern, scary, intimidating teachers.
The suppression, they were just dying to get out.
We went to karaoke, and they were just like dancing up and down on the sofa, singing like, "Ah," and I was just sat there like, literally, what the fuck is going on? But it was really cool, and like that experience, it never surprises me. It always surprises me, and I had that just 2 days ago. I went to a work party, and that happened. So, yeah, Japanese work parties.
Yeah.
And seeing the change in people. That's my strangest thing. Like that level of change between personality. It's pretty epic. Yeah.
Yep. But as soon as the party happens, it's sort of like it's this new set of rules that you can just, even in front of the boss.
Yeah, yeah. And how they address and talk with the boss is quite different as well.
Yep.
Like that relationship, that dynamic completely changes. It's really weird. They can like insult or say things to the boss, and he'll just forget it, disregard it.
Yep.
Like when I was in the UK,
free pass.
If I was the boss and someone slagged me off even when they were drunk, I'd be like, fire him, like to someone. Get rid of him, dispose of him. And but then in Japan that doesn't happen. So that's That's quite weird. Bud Habro says, "Where's your favourite, most beautiful place in Japan?" That is Akita in North Japan. Every time I drive through it, I shed tears of joy, and that doesn't ever happen apart from when the petrol prices go down. And yeah, Akita. If you get the time or money or freedom, get up to Akita. The scenery is amazing. It's very hilly. It's like in Japan, usually it's quite flat. Then there's a mountain, then it's flat again. In Akita, it's quite hilly. There's a lot of character, and it's just I can't really explain it, but it's supposed to be one of the most beautiful prefectures in Japan, and it lives up to its name big time. Well, I guess following on from that, Kenya Sanchez says, "Where would you like to visit?"
Yeah, Okinawa and Hokkaido.
Okinawa and Hokkaido. Yeah, I'd like to visit Hokkaido. That's like probably number one on my list, and then after that's Fukuoka.
Would you go in the summer or the winter?
I don't know. I think it'd be quite cool to drive to Hokkaido. It's not near. Like I'm a lot nearer than you are, but it's still not near.
Yeah.
I can't really drive under the Pacific Ocean to get there. But,
not yet.
Yeah.
Japan
no.
will think of a way.
Have you been to Fukuoka?
No, not yet. I haven't done a lot of traveling. I'm terrible.
I hear it's got like a really good. There's a lot of young people, so it's a very sort of active, fun city, and it's near Busan in Korea, so it could be a really cool place to be. So that's like probably second on my list. It would be quite cool to even try living there. I've thought about it, but anything I regret since being in Japan, says Devon Sidwell.
Yep.
Not having the balls to go out on my own often in the town where I live.
Yep.
Bloody, of course, the first year or two when I was here, Japanese was awful. Rather, any Japanese I learned, I didn't have any confidence to use. So I didn't often go out on my own. I often went out, but I didn't go out on my own. And I have a very good friend. He's a Canadian chap, and he goes out like 4 days a week.
By himself?
Yeah, by himself. I hope he's not watching it.
No, but I'm the exact same.
He has got friends. Well,
Yeah.
interestingly now, like he used to go out and he'd like be a bit of a Billy No Mates character.
Yep.
But he'd go out, and now the whole city knows who he is. He can walk down the street and like, oh, hey there.
This is the fella I met, right?
Yeah. We'll call him
cool.
Stephen. He's not called
Okay, Stephen.
But yeah, Stephen goes down and he walks down the like downtown area and he's like, oh, whoa, yeah, and they're like, fuck. And that's because he's been to every bar in town, got drunk with everyone, sung karaoke, and he's friends with everyone, and he gets invited to loads of cool stuff. And also, big plus, his Japanese is really good as well, or his confidence and ability to speak Japanese is like pretty good. So I guess I should try and do that. But
yeah, I don't think your Japanese has to be good. I mean, the people that I've met out, so Japanese people coming to hang out with us, are not the people that can speak the English the best. They're like the most fun that we want to hang out with are just the ones that talk lots and have a good time.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, no, I mean like that. I guess that's my regret, not going out more and doing what he does, because it clearly pays off.
Yeah.
Shane Omar says, being an LT, what's the best thing and the worst thing? And I'd say the best thing is you're treated really well as an LT. Generally, across the board, most LTs are treated really well. If you have a problem, it's dealt with quite swiftly, and it's quite a comfortable lifestyle. Everything's taken care of. This apartment is government subsidised, so I get a lot of comments saying, wow, how's your rent so cheap? Government subsidy. And so it's quite a comfortable life, and the salary isn't bad. The only downside is your salary is in yen, and if you're from the UK or America or anywhere that's not Japan, your salary will have gone down a ton in the last 2 years. To put it in perspective, my salary in pound terms has gone from £30,000 to about £20,000 in 2 years, which is a ridiculous amount of money when I think about it in pounds. And when I think about it, I feel like crying a lot. But in terms of like Japanese money, in terms of yen, it's actually quite good. You can live a comfortable lifestyle. But the bad thing, I guess, is the time frame. That sense of you're just some sort of disposable tool that's there for 3 to 5 years, and then after that, it's kind of like, now go. You're done with it. And everyone's like, what are you going to do after Japan? What are you going to do? Like, to people that want to stay in Japan, it can feel a bit like, oh, can I stay now? Can I stay? No, you're done. You have no purpose now. But of course, I guess there's still a great deal of people that I know who are ALTs do stay in Japan and go on to do other things. A lot of people I know ended up in Tokyo as recruitment consultants. I don't really know how that happened. They went on gaijinpot.com and like just looked down the list, and there's loads of recruitment consultant jobs. But a lot of people carried on teaching in different roles, different schools. But yeah, I guess that's the bad thing. There's a time frame, and there's no sense of progression, or you can't like go up and like most jobs, you know, you don't really. There's no long-term plan. It's kind of like this is it. You have fun and now go. So it's kind of a short-term thing. But other than that, I'd say it is really good. I would say this job's been great, and I'd give it 9 out of 10.
9 out of 10.
One off being 10 out of 10, so that's quite good.
Okay, someone said the weight loss is what I'm really wondering about.
The weight loss.
Mm.
There is a video coming out probably next week on that.
Mm-hmm.
I did finish about a month ago now, I think, and I won't spoil it, but it did actually go quite well, and most of the stuff I learned over that 10-week period I'm like integrated into my daily life now, and I feel a lot healthier. And unfortunately, I went to the UK for 3 weeks, and every day just ate disgusting amounts of cheese and alcohol. I just drank loads of alcohol, and I don't know. I thought I might have put on a lot of weight. And the day I came back, I met with my friend, one of my Japanese friends, and she saw me, and she sort of had this look of abject horror on her face when she saw me, and she like hugged me really awkwardly and went, "Chris, you became a big face," and I was like. What the fuck? What do I say to that? Oh, great! I'm a big face now. Shit. And I was like, oh shit, sorry. And yet, 12 hours later, I was in school, like doing a class, and I walked in, and like all the students went, Chris, yaseta, like you've lost weight, and I was like, oh yeah. So I don't know if I've lost weight, put it on, whatever, but depends who I'm around. Some people think I've lost weight, some people put it on, but. I think I'm doing alright. I feel quite
Whichever
happy.
way it is, they're comfortable being brutally honest when it comes to anyone gaining weight. Have you noticed that?
You what?
Where the Japanese they're brutally honest about whether you've lost or gained weight.
Oh, fuck yeah. Another teacher who's a little bit old, and she's quite an elderly teacher. She's an English teacher. Hopefully she won't watch. But anyway, I saw her for the first time in about a year. And I went, oh, how you doing? And she was like, oh, what happened? And it was like, that was the first thing she said. She didn't go, oh, it's actually really a long time no see. Oh, it's great to see you. She went, fuck, what the fuck happened to you? And I was like, oh, ha 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 ha. I've put on some weight. And it's like, bloody hell. Like, this is insane. If this wasn't Japan, like, people would be pretty offended.
Yeah, right.
I just find it hilarious. But if I was easily offended, then wow. This first day I met her, I went to school and all the teachers came over and said hello, and I met her and we had the getting to know you chat, and she was like, oh, where are you from? Oh, rubbish, and had a nice chat for about 20 minutes, and she walked off. And then she clearly thought we bonded really well over this conversation, because then about 3 hours later she had the confidence to come over once again and just ask me. Well, she just said, oh, Chris Sensei, what do you think about Osama bin Laden's girlfriend? And I was like, what? What are you talking about? And I was still jet lagged, very confused, wondering what was going on. And how do you respond to that? Osama bin Laden's girlfriend, she said, oh, he did very well.
I didn't even know he had a girlfriend.
In the sex life of Osama bin Laden, who was dead at the time as well. Yeah. Add that into the list of strange experiences. First day conversations.
Who's the funniest person you've met in Japan?
Easy one for me to answer. Obviously Natsuki, my friend Natsuki. He just brings laughter and joy to me every time I see him. But Natsuki's definitely the person who makes me laugh the most. And I have lots of cool Japanese friends that I want to introduce in videos, because they're just so cool. They're such interesting people. And I took Natsuki to the UK for 3 weeks, and he did not disappoint. And he was even spotted by a really cool guy in Topshop. Natsuki went off on his own for a bit to do some shopping, and I went off with some friends, and he went off with his wife, who also came with us. And he went into a Topshop clothing shop, and one of the workers went, wait a minute, are you Natsuki? And Natsuki went,
they recognised him in the videos.
Yeah, really, a guy called Andy, who's a viewer, and a really cool guy. And he went, are you Natsuki? And Natsuki was like, yeah. And Andy was like, what the fuck are you doing here in rural England? And yeah, I was really impressed by that. It was quite a cool thing.
Have you been recognised in England when you went back?
No, I wasn't. I wasn't really anywhere populated for a lot of the time.
Mm-hmm.
That's my excuse. But often in Tokyo and Osaka. At the time, I remember we were in Osaka. We were together.
Yep.
A few times people came up to us and said hello.
Mm.
And
in the hostel.
Tokyo, huh?
In the hostel.
Hostel.
Yeah.
It's hostel. Not
Hostel.
I never know how to react when I see someone who's watched the videos. Like I was in a bar in Tokyo and someone came over and I was having a drink with a friend and said, "Oh, I really like the videos." And "Oh, that's great, yeah, awesome." And you want to be really humble about it.
Yeah.
You want to
prepare for the big disappointment that is real life us.
Yeah, I'm just some guy in the corner of the pub drinking beer.
Yeah.
But I don't know how to respond to that.
What was it like being back in the UK after 2 years of being in Japan?
Yeah. Well, the first thing I noticed was the diversity. I stepped off the plane at Heathrow and everyone was very different. Indian, African, Chinese, Asian, whatever. It was a great degree of diversity, and obviously in Japan, where I spend my time, even in Tokyo, 98.5% of the people are Japanese, and that was the first thing. I was like, wow, everyone's very different here, and I like that. It was quite cool to have that diversity. The food and the drink was really good. The first time I walked into a supermarket, I was in shock. I went to the alcohol section, and there was 30 varieties of cider, and I think I just cried.
Yeah, how was the cider?
I was with Natsuki, and I was like, Natsuki, fucking look at that. And I was showing him every cider. I was like, look at this, wow! Because I haven't drunk any cider in 2 years. It's my favourite. And obviously understanding everything around you. Actually, that's really interesting. I noticed my eyesight was really bad while I was in the UK. I was like, wait a minute, I can't see a fucking thing. And I guess it's because while I'm in Japan, and I'm walking down the street, and there's loads of Japanese everywhere. Though I can read quite a lot, there's still a lot I can't read, and I just kind of ignore it. Like when you ignore an advert in a newspaper, like you're reading for a magazine or a newspaper, and you ignore the advert, it's kind of like that. Your mind just starts to block things out. So I hadn't become aware that my eyesight was really bad, and when I was in the UK, I was like, I can't see a damn thing, and it was really intimidating and scary and weird. So I ended up getting glasses while I was there. But yeah, that was a weird thing I noticed. But it was really cool. And actually, before I went back to the UK, I was worried that the UK was going to be like crap. Because in my head, I'm like, oh, the UK, rubbish. And whenever I read the news, it's always bad, negative things about the UK. But when I was there, I was like, wow, this is actually really good. And then I was driving through the countryside in my Vauxhall Vectra, which is a really crappy,
your grandma's car,
and listening to 1980s music, and the sun was there, and I was like, yeah, the UK is quite good. So yeah, it was really awesome to be back, and I really look forward to going back again soon. So.
Okay, Tom's question, what do you think the reason for our existence is?
Hang on, why are you asking the questions and then letting me answer them?
Because I read it first.
And then while you're talking, I'll get this pen and I'll write out what I think.
You Google it while I answer.
Anyway, go and talk now.
Okay. Well, actually, yeah. What do you think the reason for our existence is? I don't know. Enjoy. Well, I was reading a blog post yesterday. Actually, it was on your website, theabroadinjapan.com. What was it? New Year's resolutions. Enjoy every day.
Yeah, I wrote my New Year's resolution.
Yep. I'll copy that answer. Value every day.
Value every day.
What was the last line?
Well, I couldn't phrase it. It was like...
Yeah.
I couldn't think of a way to phrase it because I didn't want to use the line, live every day as though it's your last. Because every day I'd be like, shit, am I going to die?
Okay, I like that. Okay, because I think there's a big difference between live every day as if it's your last and live every day as if you had to live it again and you couldn't change it.
That's awful.
No. Well, I think it's a better appreciation because if you lived every day as if you were last, you would, like, if you're Chris Broad, you'd splash all your money, right? You just go out and have a big party, but then the next day you'd be wrecked. But if you lived the day like you, or actually the day wouldn't work out, but if you lived your life as if you had to live it again and again, also there's a name for it, but yeah, imagine if you died and when you died, you had to live your life again, but you couldn't make any changes. So you basically had to go through it. But if now, eternal recurrence. But if this was your first turn, how would you live it? So it just stops you from putting things off.
Yeah.
But also not sacrificing time.
That's a good framework. My advice: just have a fucking good day.
Mm.
There you go.
That's the simple answer.
Wake up, and whenever something bad happens, like you spill the milk on the floor. Oh, I see where that's going. If you like smash something, don't go, oh no, I smashed it, it's the end of the world, and then spend the next 10 minutes going, just go, oh, I smashed it, oh well, and move on. Like, don't waste time on pitiful, shitty little things, and don't have arguments with people. Just work out what's important. Don't waste time, and just be grateful for every day. Which sounds awfully religious, but I'm not. Whenever you hear the phrase "be grateful for," today,
it's ruined, isn't it? We've got to think of a new way to say it. Live in the moment. They've all been used.
Just I don't know. Have a good day. There you go.
Cool. Okay, Chris, if you could summarize your experience with Robot Restaurant, and actually, I'm going to go there in a couple of weeks. If you don't have to book, do you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm not going in a couple of weeks, but I'll go. I'll go one day.
It's still like in its early phase, and now it's like the most popular venue in the whole of Tokyo and Japan. So.
Okay. Well, I look forward to going in 2020. If you could summarize your experience at Robot Restaurant and its concept in one word, what would it be?
Shit. And that's the sort of shit of wow, that's cool. Not shit. Like that's good shit. It is fucking mental. I should go back there actually because it's changed a lot since I've been. People are always sending me videos about Robot Restaurant. Because again, they think I'm like some kind of expert on it for posting one of the first videos about it, but it's really different now. So yeah, I'd love to go back. I hear they expanded it, so definitely. Yep. If you go to Tokyo, definitely go. It's in an area called Kabukicho, and one of the other comments earlier, someone mentioned the red light district, Yili, that was the name of the person. They said, where's the red light district? Well, I haven't been, so I can't talk from experience, but it is in an area called Kabukicho in Shinjuku. It's the entertainment district, and it's right in the middle of Tokyo. And Robot Restaurant's down there. And to get to Robot Restaurant can feel a little bit intimidating the first time you go down there, because you go down and there's just loads of people like, yeah, coming up. It's very un-Japanese. Everyone like harasses you.
Yeah, I've noticed that.
Yeah.
Even in Nagoya, they try and pull you into all the bars and stuff.
It's weird. It doesn't feel right to happen in Japan.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's in Kabukicho, the red light district, and Robot Restaurant. So you can have a really good night out.
Okay. What were your inspirations or motives to move to and work in Japan?
The main reason, actually, I was on a plane going to Switzerland in 2009, and I was visiting my then girlfriend who's a ski instructor. And I didn't know what I wanted to do, and this was a few months before I was going to start university and study business and English language. And I didn't know what I was going to do after that, although I knew I wanted to travel. And on the plane, I was sat next to this middle-aged couple, and they were like, oh, what are you going to do after university? I was like, no plan, no idea. And they were like, wow, well, our daughter's in Japan at the moment on something called the JET program. She's teaching, living in Japan, and she loves it. And for the next 2 hours on this plane to Switzerland, we just talked about the JET program and Japan. And it just, I don't know, everything I wanted to do and see, it just represented an opportunity that I hadn't heard about before. And when I got off the plane, I was like, going to Japan, that's awesome. So up until that point, I hadn't really been obsessed with Japanese anime or culture, but I'd always wanted to go. And if you're in the UK, like going to Japan is seen as something that's really difficult to do because it's the other side of the world. It's really expensive to get there. You kind of just go, oh, someday I'll go, and then you'll never go. And I knew if I was going to go, I wanted to actually live there. And so the JET program gave that opportunity. And I knew that when I came to Japan, I was going to try and study Japanese and become as fluent as I could. So yeah, it was just a case of good timing in life.
Yep.
Fate, Regan. It was fate.
Yeah, destiny. What's your favorite thing about Japanese language and least favorite thing? The Japanese language.
It's actually, grammatically, it's quite simple in many ways. The earlier stages, it's quite simple to understand. And it's quite a fun language to have a conversation with. Obviously, the bad thing is reading and writing.
Yeah, kanji. I think it's almost everybody's answer is the reading and writing system.
Fucking nightmare. 2,200 characters to learn.
Yep.
Each one usually with 2 readings.
Mm.
Fuck. Like,
Yeah.
takes about 3 to 5 years to become good at the reading. And writing, wow, that's a whole other ballgame. But
I'm the same. I really like the talking, but like I just started learning Spanish a couple of weeks ago, and it just feels like a breeze compared to Japanese reading and writing. Because you can, with Romaji, like with English English letters, the alphabet, it's so much easier. Yeah, kanji is the difficult one.
definitely. But it's also quite rewarding. Like, where I am now after about 2.5 years, it's very fun because I can read things and I can write a lot of characters, and yeah, it's really deeply rewarding if you are able to sustain and continue. The rewards are great.
How long will you stay in Japan? What's your plan this year?
My plan is to go full-time making videos on abroad in Japan, to become a filmmaker. It's always been my life's ambition to make movies. But it's kind of one of those dreams that you have in your teenage years. Oh, I want to be a film director. And, oh, yeah, sure you do. And then you kind of go, oh, I'm not going to do that, give up. I want to stay in Japan a bit longer and have a really good YouTube channel about Japan, the #1 channel about Japan, whatever that means. It's just a really broad aim. And yeah, become a filmmaker. And I don't have any desire to return to the UK, not because I don't like the UK, because it's awesome, but because I lived there for 22 years, I pretty much saw and did everything, and now I want to go and see other things. And living in Japan for 2.5 years, every day you learn so much more than you would if you lived back home.
Yeah.
Just go and live abroad. That's my advice if you've never lived abroad, because you'll learn so much in 1 year. In 1 year, you'll learn more than you've learned in the last 5 years in your home country, probably.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, I want to continue traveling, learning, seeing, doing, and most importantly, making videos about it and being able to teach people the things I've learned along the way. That's really rewarding.
When did you have the eureka moment that you could speak Japanese well enough to hold extended dialogue, and how long did it take you to get that far from beginner level?
About 12 months maybe.
Yep.
I got into Japan August 2012. I'm actually going to make a video on this soon because I want to retell how I learned Japanese and what I did to other people while it's still kind of fresh in my mind. But I got into Japan August 2012, literally knew nothing, and studied really hard. And then after about 4 months, I knew fuck all, and I was really angry. I remember I went to this dinner party, this Christmas work party, and there was a really beautiful girl that I was sat with. I really wanted to talk to her, and I just couldn't. She was talking to me, and I was like, "Don't know what you're saying," and it was the most annoying thing because she couldn't really speak English.
Yeah.
And we were just having these awkward moments, and like we couldn't really talk at all. And I went home, and I was like, "Right, fuck, that's it. I'm gonna learn. I'm going to study so hard." And it took about another 4 to 5 months. But yeah, you can have that eureka moment in about a year.
Yeah.
You study hard. And things got really interesting after about 2 years. Things got really interesting. But yeah, my problem was I didn't have the confidence to go and talk and use what I'd learned. And that was my biggest flaw. And if I learn another language, I know not to do that again. But if you learn some stuff, try and use it as much as you can. And I've really got to stop doing these hand movements. It looks like some sort of...
Yeah, it looks fine.
Some sort of shitty dictator. The trouble is, my dream is to be the villain in the movie Tomorrow Never Dies.
Yep.
Elliot Carver, right? I want to be that villain, and so whenever I do anything, I come across as a bit of a villain.
They don't really use sarcasm in Japan. Is that true?
I think so. They use irony in language, but they don't. Yeah, they don't really use it like we do. Like one teacher was like, or someone said to me something like, "Oh, you should go and climb this mountain tomorrow," and I was in a good mood, and I said something like, "Oh, I'd rather slam my fingers in the door." Like,
Yeah.
This was insane. Why? Why would you do that? And it was like, oh shit, you didn't understand.
Yeah.
Well, I'm actually going to slam my fingers in the door. That would be stupid.
Yeah.
I just don't want to go and climb the mountain. So yeah, they didn't really get that.
No.
So ever since then, I've just kind of held off the sarcasm.
Got a question. Okay, what's your favorite part about the Japanese culture lifestyle? So I'll change this a little bit. If you could take something back to the UK, so for example, like trains are on time here and things like that, or convenience stores are everywhere. What sort of Japanese culture would you take back to UK.
What you said there about everything working is quite an interesting point. That's one thing, everything working. For example, when I went back to the UK with Natsuki and his wife, we went and bought a ticket for the London Underground. It was a day rail pass. And the first day, his wife, Asami, put it through the machine, and it just kept not working. It was rejected. It was like, go and see a ticket attendant. For the whole day, she couldn't use a ticket. She had to go and see an attendant to get through every gate of every single underground station in London that we used.
Yep.
And then the next day, Natsuki's fucking ticket happened to him as well, and we spent the whole day again going to assist. Like in Japan, that doesn't happen. And when I asked the ticket attendant in the London Underground, why is this ticket shit? He was like, it's just London, innit? That's what he said.
Yeah.
Like, oh, all right, yeah, that's fair enough, actually.
Yep.
In Japan, that doesn't really happen. Another thing, I went to use a vending machine in the UK, one of the few vending machines that I saw, and like the crisps had one of these like twirly ones where it goes, and it's like it slowly comes forward.
Yeah.
Whereas in Japan, it uses like a robotic arm and laser tracking system.
Right. Each packet has its own GPS.
Just the crisp about to come out, like got stuck like that, and I was like,
oh, you didn't get it?
I forgot that happens in the UK, so I didn't get my crisps. Well, I did. I smashed the machine up to get them, but so things not working, and I don't know why. I don't understand why everything in Japan does work, whereas in the UK only half of things work. I can't work that out.
Well, everyone's really, particular and like on time with everything. You can see it in the society of people as well.
Yeah, it's to do with the collectivism of Japanese society, I think. And I think it's to do with the fact that everyone in Japan, their job is kind of their identity as well. Yeah. Like, it's not just a job, I'm working part-time at the store. It's kind of like, I am that job. Like, that is who I am. And if something goes wrong, I am wholly accountable for that. That is me. And so, I don't know, I think that's something to do with it. But I think the one thing I would take back to the UK is the service quality. Again, service quality in Japan. I went and bought my phone, and the woman was on her knees. That sounds really bad, actually. Shit. She was on her knees.
It's okay. We're not live.
Here's your phone. Like it was like it's giving the sword to an emperor, and I was like, yes, the Samsung Galaxy S3, and which is a shit phone. Don't get that. And, and the service quality, it's amazing. The service quality is fantastic. And then I rang up like a British airline company to like sort of fly out. Yep. And in Japan, if you ring someone up, they're like, "Oh yeah, wow, you're the best. You're the customer. What you say goes." In the UK, what do you want? Can I change my flight? No. Why do you want to do that? And it was a really I just forgot how shit.
I'm mixed on that one. Like I agree. The service quality is great. Like it's incredible. Like you go somewhere and you're treated famously, but I think the downside to that is I've got a friend he's Japanese. He worked in a cafe in Australia for a year doing a working holiday, and he's come back and he's working in Starbucks. And he said like it's so good, it's so focused on service that I think sometimes it can lose the friendly, quirky edge that the Westerners bring to it. Of it's fun to meet someone with a personality in the service industry, right? Like if you have a chat with someone at a coffee store, or you just talk about something. I miss that about Australia, I think, as well. Like people just being more open to talk about stuff, with a stranger.
Definitely. Actually, that's a good point. Really good point.
But getting coffees on time and having everything. The service is great, but you can't have one without the other, I suppose.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point actually. Like in Japan, again, I can't really talk to the people who I speak to, like kind of that sort of friendly banter with people in shops and stuff. And when I went back to the UK, I wouldn't leave people alone. I went to this like sweet shop, and it was my first time going in a shop in the UK, and I was like just in awe that I could talk to the person that worked in the shop.
Yeah, right. And you can say to them, "How was your day?"
Yeah, I was just
without them giving you a weird look.
Well, the poor woman, I wouldn't leave her alone. Yeah. For about 20 minutes, she was like slowly backing off across the store, like, "Oh, really? Fuck off!" And like, I was like, "Yeah, let's talk more." And she was just terrified. But this just kept happening. Whenever I went into a store in the UK, I would try and engage in conversation with people. It's because I hadn't been able to do that for two years in Japan. Yeah, and I definitely prefer the Japanese way. In restaurants in Japan, when you want customer service, you shout, "Oh, sumimasen," and you call the person over, and they come and fulfill your every demand. Whereas in the UK, they'll just come over and you're eating your lunch or dinner, and they'll come over and like, how's your meal? Is it good? And you're like, it's good. And I'm like, oh, good, and just piss off.
Yep.
And I don't want people coming over while I'm eating my meal. Go away.
Ooh, although, have you heard a couple of izakayas I've been to here? Have you noticed, like, if it's quiet, they're so ready to serve you that if you're the only one in the restaurant, have you seen the waiter? They'll be about 10 feet away, standing against a wall, just staring at you, like, you know, waiting for your drink to get to the bottom. Have you ever had someone just watching you?
No.
Really? I've had a couple of izakayas. Okay, so I've been in a couple of izakayas where
you've got like the body of some sort of god who's Australian.
No,
like, wow, look at that foreigner over there. We got a Starbucks open in the town a week ago, and it was like the miracle of North Japan. People came from far and wide to see the Starbucks open, and it's quite a nice building. I haven't been in there yet. It looks like it's made out of like unicorn face. It's like this beautiful building, but yeah, I haven't gone in it yet. But this Starbucks was hailed as almost like a mythical shop.
How did you meet your friends in Japan?
Joshua. I met Natsuki in the downtown area where I live. I was coming back from a little work party, and he was there with his friend, and he went, "Oh, foreigner!" And I was like, "What?"
Natsuki said that?
Yeah, he was like, "Oh, it's a foreigner," because like there's no foreigners for about 4,000 fucking miles where I live, and it was, yeah, I was like, "Oh, wow, all right, someone who seems quite cool." And he was like, "Yeah, let's drinking," and I was like, "Okay." And so we went off and we did karaoke for like 3 hours, and they were all. The reason I like Natsuki is because he knows like really good music. He knows more about music than I do from like the UK and America, like rock
I'm
music.
looking forward to a video about that.
Yeah, we should make one actually. But yeah, so it was the best karaoke I've ever done, and it was really cool. And then after that, we just agreed to meet up every Thursday and practice English, Japanese, get drunk and do karaoke. And from that, you know, our relationship took off. And then other friends I've just met at parties. Like, if you want to make friends, the best place is parties, because you're in the social group. And so if you see someone at the party you don't know, at least you'll have mutual friends. And yeah, it's that sort of sense of security that they're not a complete weirdo. If you want Japanese friends, you do need to speak even just a little bit of Japanese, but it will go a long way.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It really does. Like, speaking some Japanese goes a really long way. The questions come a few times about earthquakes. There's hundreds of earthquakes a day.
Yeah.
I have a teacher at my school has a computer screen. It flashes whenever there's an earthquake, and it shows you all the dots. And by the end of the day, there's hundreds, but they're so small you never really feel them. In fact, in the time that I've been here, I've probably felt about 3. The first time I felt one, I was sitting at my desk eating fried chicken, as you would expect.
For something different.
I'm not making that up for this to like romanticize the plot of this short story, but I was actually eating fried chicken. I remember it vividly. And there was my phone, the Samsung S3 that I mentioned earlier, went fucking mental. I was like, "What's going on?" I turned it over, and I couldn't read it because at the time I knew
the warning system.
Like, yeah, it was like a red flashing thing. So I thought my phone was just like about to, like, there was a bomb in it or something. I was terrified. Really scary. And then all of a sudden, like, the whole room went, and like, I'm in a big apartment block. It's about 4 stories, and it's this big concrete building. And it just started going like this, like some sort of ride at a theme park, like a rocking ship. And it was just, I was just sitting there like, this is weird. What do I do now? And like, just going backwards and forwards for about 30 to 40 seconds. And I thought, should I stand in the doorway? Because I thought that's what you're supposed to do. But it didn't. I didn't think anything would come of it, and it didn't. But yeah, it was a bit weird. Another time at my school it happened, and the whole building had this really scary creaking noise. It was like, and it was terrifying. I was like, wow. But obviously the buildings are built incredibly well to all move, and they are able to move to the earthquake, which is why they don't fall down. But yeah. You won't actually feel that many when you're here. Yeah. Do either of you watch any anime? I got into anime after coming to Japan, actually. My favourite anime is GTO, Great Teacher Onizuka. It's about this guy who's a gang member who wants to become a teacher, probably for questionable motives that include attractive girls, which is a bit worrying because he's 20 and his students are like, well, not 20. But the reason it's funny is just because he's just this ridiculous man. He's not a teacher at all. He's just this gangster, and his methods of dealing with things are just brilliant, like just punching teachers in the face to get things done.
Yep.
But it's just really funny. So GTO, great teacher on Natsuki. You can find a lot of it on YouTube, so go there. And also Death Note is quite good. Death Note.
Did that GTO one get made into a drama? I don't watch anime.
Yeah, it's a live action show of GTO. Would a foreigner wanting to teach in Japan have a hard time if they have tattoos? It depends if they're covered up.
Yeah.
If you have tattoos, keep them covered up, no problem. I have a few friends who have tattoos under their shirt and they couldn't see them. Only problem is, if you have a tattoo, you can't really go in an onsen. And onsen is the best thing about Japan as far as I'm concerned. Onsen is a hot spring, a hot bath, and like a bathing house. They're amazing. They're just so nice. And if you have a tattoo, they're kind of like, no, get out now.
Yep.
So, yeah, if you have a tattoo, hide it. People watching someone... in terms of videos, I have got some videos coming. And the reason I don't make videos that often is not because I don't like making videos. I love making videos. It's just a question of time. 5 days a week, 8 to 5, working at the biggest school in North Japan takes its toll. And I do come home and I'm like, yeah, I wanna make a video now. But by the time I get home, I just like lay on the floor, just like, that is the face I pull. But so usually
you do other things as well. Like I know you've got regular meetups with Natsuki and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking at trying to make videos more frequent. Like I did want to do videos weekly, and now we're back in January. I want to try and do that again, but it's just really difficult and unsustainable. But when I will finish teaching in August. I will finish teaching on JET in August. My plan is to stay in Japan, hopefully on a work holiday visa, kind of like what Regan's got, and that will give me the freedom to live in Japan, maybe get a little part-time job, but to spend most of my time traveling around, making videos, getting good stuff done. So that is my goal for this year. And if you're wondering what videos are coming up next, the first one is a video with Natsuki before our trip to the UK. It's called Japanese Thoughts on British Culture, and that should be quite interesting. Then one on how to memorise speech, because I did a Japanese speech contest and I was able to memorise the speech, and I found that really interesting and weird and cool, and I want to make a video about that. So when other people want to do a speech, they'll be prepared. And then there's the losing weight video in all its glory, and some speaking Japanese fluency tips. So there's a lot on its way. That's the next like week or two, and there's a whole list of stuff. But yeah, hopefully. So this will be a lot more frequent. Yeah, but let's do this again, like next month.
Sounds good. Thanks very much for coming, Chris. First of all, thank you everybody for watching too.
Yeah, my advice, although I don't really want to tell you this, but the questions that I've been able to read are usually the people that just spammed the same question again and again.
Yeah.
So that's my tip for success on getting your question answered.
If you I try to get to as many comments as I can, but if you really want to do it, make an interesting, fun comment. Is one that I'll love answering. Make the question interesting. Some people are just straight out say it, or if it's fun to read, then I get it's sort of fun to make a fun response. So
it's fun to make a fun response.
It's always fun.
Heard it from the horse's mouth.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.